Good morning. Welcome to the Unity Center of West Lynn. My name is Jan Carruthers, and I am your service assistant today. We bless and welcome each one of you today and always. And in Unity, we believe that everyone, each one of us, every soul dwells in spirit, and each of us is here today by divine appointment. So welcome. The Unity Center is a ministry where people of all backgrounds, ages, and beliefs celebrate the one common spiritual thread that lives in every heart. And if you're new to Unity or Unity of West Lynn, we invite you to visit our website, www.worldhealing.org. A little bit different than normal domains. It's worldhealing.org. So settle back, and our senior interim minister, Reverend Julie Applegate, is going to open us this morning in prayer.
Thank you, Jan. I'm going to actually do a prayer treatment from a book called Treat Yourself to Life by Raymond Charles Barker. Many of you, like me, have huge libraries of New Thought books collected over the years. And I love to go back and look at particularly some of the older teachers. They usually just are so clear about the truth. So please join me in this prayer treatment, this realization of the truth. Just take a deep breath, be still, and know that as I speak these words, they are being spoken for you too. So I believe that at the center of my being, there is a power which is joyous, a creative power. I believe that my recognition of this power causes it to act for me. I now recognize it and say, come forth, break through every obstruction with which time, space, and memory have surrounded me. Break through every pattern of it, the I can'ts or the I shouldn'ts, or what will happen if I do. Break through the past of background, heredity, and tradition. Joy in me comes through me in creative ways of good, unrestricted. It operates through me, this creative power, this amazing wisdom and intelligence in me that I did not create, but that I use to co-create. It is a deep spiritual power within me. And I now release it. Nothing in me blocks it. I let it out and it finds creative ways to appear. And through that, I am a greater person and I share my good more freely with this world. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Julie. Our reading this morning is from Jim Rosemergy, and as Julie mentioned, we do have large libraries, and this is a wonderful Unity minister who's written many, many books over the years. And this is from a book of daily spiritual wisdom. And it's really in honor of Thanksgiving coming this week. So, thankfulness is a call to power. Acts 16, 22 and 25 and 26 tell of a time when Paul was in prison. It was midnight, and he and Silas were singing and praising God. Suddenly there was an earthquake, and the doors of the prison were opened, and the prisoners' fetters broken. They were free. Naturally, they were free. Their souls were free. Their prayers, praises, and songs had lifted them up into a state of liberty. The world around them had to reflect the inner world. Charles Fillmore declared about this event in Paul's life, spiritual forces act through exalted thoughts. Wherever there are exalted thoughts, the power of God is released. Notice that in this story, there is nothing in the outer for which to be thankful. The men are in prison, but they make a choice to praise, pray, and give thanks. The power of God is released from within in this way. Notice also that there is no attempt to wield the power or direct it in any particular way. Paul and Silas's purpose is exalted thoughts. Put this principle to the test today. In a way to be determined by you, let your soul be filled with thankfulness. Give thanks for all aspects of your life. Give thanks for the goodness of your life as well as the challenges. Give thanks and wait 3 days. Within 3 days, the power of God will be released from within you. Record the happenings, but during your period of waiting, do not try to determine the expression of this power. Remember, there is no such thing as personal power. And now we have a piece of music that will support us in our day today.
Spirit flow through me like a melody, ancient and brand new, for the song is you. May all people hear strains so sweet and clear. Let your joy come through, for the song is you. I will be the instrument you play. Bring your sweet music to me each and every day. For what joy I know to be in the flow. Every note rings true when the song is you. Spirit flow through me. I will be the instrument you play. Bring your sweet music to me each and every day. And what joy I know to be in the flow. Every note rings true when the song is you. Every note rings true when the song is you.
I love the songs you choose, Jan. And, you know, friends, there is something about beautiful spiritual music that through the vibration really just opens our heart. And it does something to, I think, to every cell in our body, something about bringing life to it. So I love our music that welcomes us together. And welcome, everyone. This is Sunday, although you may be watching this on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. And isn't it amazing what we can do? And also, I know that some of us watch Sunday morning in our pajamas. So it's just a new world, but welcome today. And we're exploring the miraculous power of vision, not our eyesight. Somebody says, "Are you really talking about your eyes and your glasses?" I was like, no. But inner seeing of a desired outcome. And the dictionary puts it this way: the ability to think or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. I'm just really passionate about this subject. It's exciting and inspirational to read and hear about individuals or groups who have a vision and consciously create something wonderful. I was listening to NPR on my way home from work yesterday, and it was interviewing a group in Bend, Oregon, who had come together just really fast and put together these shelters for people that wouldn't normally have a shelter to go to because they didn't fit a criteria or were able to, maybe abide by certain rules, but they were out in the cold, and indeed one person had died. And I was listening to this they had this one lady had this vision, but brought all of these leaders together, and they have these shelters and these warming areas in these places. And that is, I thought, wow, that is what we're talking about today. That power of a vision put into action just creates the great things that we have in our world today. And I'm going to tell you another story in just a moment. But first, have you heard this quote? I think a lot of us have. If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can become it. And who doesn't like that statement telling us that even though part of us believes something, the truth is, if we can imagine it, we can achieve it. But I could leave it there and tell you stories of people like Disney and Bernal and Charles Fillmore, whose work and vision birthed this amazing worldwide unity movement. And it would be inspiring, and you would come away uplifted perhaps, and I would be happy because that's what I want. But I think I would be doing us all a disservice if I left it there. Particularly for many of you listening who have a vision or a hope for a dream, but feel discouraged that it did not come about or it hasn't yet materialized, and maybe you have lost faith. So yes, we begin with a dream, a vision, but there is more to it than just having a dream and a vision. And as many of you like me have sat through torturous sessions that spend a great deal of time coming up with pretty words, hours sometimes just getting the right word. And in the end, there's a consensus, and it's wonderful, and we're happy, and it's like, oh yes, that's what we're about. And everyone leaves, but nothing happens. So I think we've all been there. Even in our personal life, I have these notes I keep in my bathroom, and I get all enthused, like in the evening before I go to bed, like I have something I'm going to create tomorrow, like amazing exercise, and I'm going to be in such good shape, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And then the next day it doesn't happen. Well, that's probably not what you thought we were going to talk about, but we all do that too. So we can disappoint ourselves. But having a vision is necessary, whether it is formal or not. Like being really clear, you guys, about having a clear idea, a picture in our mind of what we want. But that is necessary, but it's just the first step. So this vision, this intention creates a pattern. Is why it's important. It creates a pattern in the universe, and we talk about our thoughts and our beliefs and how they somehow go forth into the law of mind, into this undifferentiated something, this energy field, this that we don't know what, but we know what it does. And it creates that which returns to us in like kind. But the pattern that we create with our vision does the same thing. And it moves the substance's energy in the universe in some way so that potential and possibility in this undifferentiated field becomes real. So let's compare it to cookie dough, because some of us are making a lot of cookies now. And so we have this dough, which is just dough, a big blob of dough. But we choose cookie cutters and we cut through that and we have a pattern. We have something that looks like something we find delight in. And if we don't like it, we can re-choose again and form a new cookie, a new pattern. Well, that's kind of like how a vision works with this infinite mind, this magical, mysterious, real universe. But see, it takes passion and action and belief to bring a vision into something other than just words, words which more or less we sometimes forget. It takes leadership. And maybe it's an internal self-leadership. Well, I think it always needs to be that self that leads our own life and is the director of our own life. Or it could be a leader of a group or of movement, like that woman in Bend who started that. She took a step in leadership. So one of my daughters is a teacher, and so I've had an opportunity to read a few books on the subject of education and success in education. And what educators have found out through a study is that intelligence, our IQ, even our talents, or the level of the family income is not what makes for success in a child, but it's something that they call grit. And grit is a distinct combination of passion, resilience, determination, and focus that allows a person to maintain the discipline and optimism to persevere in their goals, even in the face of discomfort, rejection, and a lack of visible progress for perhaps a long time. This idea of grit, even that word, has feels. You can just feel that determination in that very word. So that's what they say is the thing that students have that is a determining factor. And I think that that's true all of our life long, this quality of grit. So for many of us, when the going gets difficult and there is rejection, there is this really desire to quit. And what in our messages and our Sunday thing is like, no, that's not what you need to do, because your contribution to this world is so valuable. Those ideas and those visions and those desires that come through you, they actually come through you, are important. They're important to you, but they're also important to the greater world. I read a book a few years ago called The Confederacy of Dunces. It's kind of an unusual book, but I loved it and hated it at the same time. But what I didn't know about it when I was reading it is that the author, his name was John Kennedy Toole, committed suicide after 5 years of rejections of this novel that he had written. He was so discouraged or depressed or, whatever caused that. But 2 years after his death, his mother found the manuscript and sent it out to publishers. And she was rejected by 7 more publishers. But, moms, they're not going to give up. And until Louisiana State University Press published it. And they published a mere 2,500 copies, thinking, well, it's not going to be anything. But in 1981, Toole was posthumously awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Literature, and it sold millions of copies and been translated into 20 languages. A sad story that he didn't live to see that. But another example, and I'm going to use literary examples because that's where I'm focusing right now. Excuse me. Carrie by Stephen King. I think that was made into a movie, wasn't it? Kind of scary. Was rejected by 30 publishers. They said, we're not interested in science fiction that deals with negative utopias. They do not sell. It was finally published in 1974. And when the paperback version was released a year later, it sold 1 million copies in 12 months. So we don't always have to listen to somebody else's opinion. Listen, evaluate, and know in your heart what's true for you. Even I found it fascinating, and I didn't know this, that J.K. Rowling's original manuscript for Harry Potter was rejected by 12 different publishing houses. One literary agent says, you know, you'll never make a fortune out of writing children's books. Can you imagine how many publishers are kicking themselves that they didn't take on J.K. Rowling's? I wonder if anybody got fired over that. But anyway, you know, it's somebody's opinion. It's somebody's opinion. And they're often influenced by ideas that are so grounded in the way we think. But opinions, cultural opinions, but they're just opinions, and opinions can change. There's in our book that we were reading together, or sort of reading together, Shortcut to a Miracle, there's a story in there about Buckminster Fuller, who many, if not all of you, have heard of. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about his accomplishments. He wrote 28 books. He was awarded honorary doctorates from 47 colleges and universities. He got major architectural awards. He was remembered as one of the most remarkable and visionary men of the 20th century. Albert Einstein once told him with great respect, young man, you amaze me. But before this happened, he was 32 years old as he told his story, standing on the banks of Lake Michigan, thinking about jumping in and committing suicide. He had lost a child. His wife had had another child. He had no money. He was disgraced because in business he had failed. But not only had he failed in business, he had managed to lose money for other people. And he was just horrified. So he's thinking about suicide. But as he stood there for a long time thinking, he looked at the rocks and pebbles, he said in his writing. He watched the waves. As he did this, his mind became calm and his thinking began to clear. Then he had a realization, a higher awareness, an inner knowing. You do not belong to yourself. You belong to the universe. As he followed this realization further, he recognized that the voice came from within him and from nowhere else. This led him to make a new commitment, to always endeavor to think for himself. No longer would he be influenced or swayed by the opinions or theories of others. So your inner knowing is valuable. You and I have connection to this infinite wisdom, this infinite intelligence. It lives in us as us, for we are one with all life. So there's this inner voice of truth that's in each one of us. And part of our practice is just learning to listen to us, because it will guide us. It will guide us and direct us to what is right and true for us. And what I want to do today is to remind us of the possible, the power of vision combined with grit. It's so powerful, you guys. Okay, so the story I promised. One of my favorite places is Death Valley, in the winter, of course. I don't think I would want to be there in the summer. And my husband and I were visiting Death Valley one time, and we stumbled upon Death Valley Junction. It had once been a real community, a small community for workers at the borax plant. And there was a railroad stop through there, but it had fallen in disrepair, and the company was no longer what it had been, and the railroad didn't serve it anymore. So there was no reason really for it to be. And for the most part, it was deserted, and a lot of the buildings had fallen down. But I love to explore places like that. They're so fascinating. So there was this building there, and it had been the community hall, and it was now called the Opera House, Amargosa Opera House. I hope I said that right. But there was no one in the whole place, no one around. So I had to peek through all the windows, and there looked like there were chairs in this opera house. And I thought that was really weird because there's nobody here. There's no people here. There's no houses. There was and is a small motel there. So I had to find out more about this place. It just intrigued me. And that's when I discovered Marta Beckett. And Marta was a ballet dancer, and she danced in a lot of Broadway productions, but her career had declined. She was getting older and just didn't have the work that she had. So she took to the road during shows. And at that time, at colleges and small towns, different people would come through, entertainers, musicians, groups, and they would put on shows. But that worked for a long time until that gave way in the 60s to these big concerts. And then that business was kind of drying up. But she was on her way, I think, to some gig in California. And she and her husband drove, well, they were going through Death Valley and came to this junction, and had a flat tire. I always thought that was a coincidence worth noting. And she just fell in love with this little place. And there was this old rundown community hall that had served for every purpose in this little town of the junction, Death Valley Junction. But it was in total disrepair, but she kind of fell in love with it. So she leased it. And later on, she bought it, but she began to fix it up and put on shows, put on her ballet shows and her theater, but no one came. I mean, why would they? There weren't actually any people in the near area. There's people around there, but not in the near area. So what she did, this is so amazing. You have to go online and see the pictures if you haven't been down there to see them in person. She painted an audience all around the walls because not only was she a dancer, she was an artist. So she painted this amazing scene of 16th century Spanish court. There was a king and a queen and all sorts of people, and Catholic clergy and peasants and bullfighters, and you name whatever person might have existed in 16th century Spain. And they were all painted there, enthralled, watching her dance every night. And so she did that for a few years. Just every night she would put on her show, she would dance, she would do theater to her audience that she painted on the wall. And how is that for having a vision and just doing what your soul calls you to do? But in 1970, this National Geographic journalist came through, and he discovered Beckett doing a performance at the Amargosa Opera House, as she has now renamed it, without an audience, which you can imagine if you stumbled on that, how that would be. So he, being a journalist, he wrote her up and did a profile in life. And that led to a lot of interest as people began to read about her and her theater. And so people began to come, and lots of people began to come. And eventually there was a documentary about her and lots of write-ups about her. And she did her show until she was 88 years old. And I was just dying to see her, just dying to see her. And my son lived in Los Angeles in the early 2000s. So my daughter and I and her little girl went to visit him, and we went to Death Valley because I wanted to see Marta Beckett dance. So we all trooped off to there, went in to get a ticket. And of course, I'm not thinking, I guess I'm still thinking she's dancing to her people painted on the wall, but there was only one ticket left. And my kids were really nice. They said, you could watch her, we'll wait, wait in the lobby for the whole thing with a toddler. And I thought, oh, I can't do that to them. So I didn't take the ticket because I was such a kind person. And I missed out on seeing her, but she still inspires me. I love that story. I love that story, to have a vision and a dream and to be so passionate about what you do that you're going to do it, whether anybody notices or not, whether anybody likes it or not. So is there something in your life that's unfinished that perhaps you're thinking about giving up on? Or you think maybe you're too old or too average. But you guys, as long as we are alive, we're here to live. We're here to share our joy, to co-create with the universe, to co-create our life. And I don't know what happens after that. I expect we'll still be co-creating. But here's what we are to do, what we are called to do. Our greatest creation is our life. And what do we want to show for that? So form a clear vision in your mind. Maybe cut out some photos, paste them up, and begin your strategy. See, we can't just have the vision, remember? We have to put it into action. And the place to begin is to form a strategy. What am I going to do? To lay that out, the doing part. And then take one step. We don't have to think it happens to happen all at once. Just one step in the direction of our dream. So live your vision regardless of who might approve of it or not approve of it. It's your vision and it is holy. Namaste, my friends. Thank you. And let us listen to this beautiful music that is coming up in a sense of reverie. Let it fill us, let it inform us, let it bring us alive.
Say thank you, thank you, thank you, 'cause I'm so grateful, oh grateful, I'm so grateful. So I wanna say thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Now thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. I want to say thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. Just thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. Yeah. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I want to just say thank you now. Just thank you now. 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 Each and every day I'm gonna say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. May I piggyback on that song and just say, we are so grateful for everyone who continues to support this ministry. And now, as we appreciate our coming together, we also appreciate the process of giving as an expression of our own gratitude. Our gratitude for goodness, for health, and the abundance in our lives, and for the Unity Center as a source of spiritual inspiration and as a support in all of our lives. And it's time in our celebration when we act in faith, on faith, with generosity and commitment. And so as we remember to share in our treasure and our time, we give thanks for our deep interconnection, which is the theme of Unity for November. And as your board members speak with their gratefulness for all your gifts, and I am speaking for them this morning, for I know their deep gratitude for the support for this ministry of finances, support of time, service, food for those in need, and for all your love. As you see, there are many, many ways to contribute by mail, online. Every gift is important. There's just lots of ways to give. You just don't give up. And so we began this year with an intention and a vision for our 30th year. It is this, our vision, think of that. Spirit-led, we are co-creating a vibrant, inclusive ministry, welcoming and supporting everyone on their spiritual journey. And so together, as you have chosen to give, we bless your gifts and offerings. And we say, and you can say it with me, God's love in me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Thank you, Reverend Julie. Appreciate it, and I appreciate your message, especially today. So we have a few announcements. We have our holiday toy project coming up here in these next 3 weeks. We are adapting this year from our holiday toy day. We need some secret Santas. There have been some changes to our annual toy day, obviously due to the COVID situation. And rather than having parents shop at the center, gifts will be delivered to families by our trusty reindeer delivery service on December 13th. That means we have about 3 weeks here. But before that can happen, we need your help. And very soon we will send out a list of the toys and gifts that we will need for the families we will be serving. Then we ask you to decide what gifts or gift cards you can donate to help Santa this year. Or if you prefer, you can make cash donations and Santa's elves will shop for you. There's so many ways to participate in the Unity Center Holiday Project. If you do buy gifts or would like to donate or volunteer or have questions, please contact Marilee Payne, our head elf, at Marilee, Marilee, consult at AOL.com, or you can call the office, the Unity office, at 503-697-9765. And you can find all this information also in our weekly newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, go on the website and sign up. So blessings, and your Board of Holiday Cheer thanks you for that. The second thing, also from the board, is that we are looking to move the office out of the current facility by the end of the year to save money at this time. The details are still being worked on. However, we expect the phone number, email address, website, and Facebook page all to remain the same. Our wonderful Olivia West will be coordinating the office move with Sharon McGrath, our administrator, and along with the board and helpful volunteers. So if Olivia may be contacting you regarding your assistance if we need it, we'll keep you informed of further details as we know them. And finally, licensed Unity teacher Sandra Combs is continuing her class, leading a study group after church starting at 12:30 until December 13th. There's every Sunday, and the class is based on Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters. It's a great class for anyone who is interested and concerned, as we all are, about healing and health. So those are the announcements. We want you, invite you to stay after the service for 15 minutes, half an hour of fellowship, asking questions about miracles if you would like. Keep up with all the current events by checking out the website and the newsletter. And to close, we want to thank you, Reverend Julie, for your inspiring message, and encourage everyone to faithfully envision what it is we want, the future we want, then move into conscious action to realize it. Open your hearts, your minds, your eyes, and watch what unfolds. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. Let us count our many blessings and share them with open hearts. There's so many people longing for connection and for the peace that these unity principles bring into our lives. So we encourage you to invite others, those you care about, to share our Sunday messages on YouTube or come with us live on Sunday mornings. You just never know what will come from someone hearing a message that seems to have been written and spoken especially for them. So for further spiritual support, feel free. We would love to. Reverend Julie has offered for spiritual coaching. You can also go on Unity, Silent Unity, 24-hour prayer, silentunity.org. So again, please stay after the service. We'd love to spend time with you. If you're new here, especially, we welcome you. We look forward to getting to know you. So as we complete this formal time together, let's look at the candles that are burning in our minds. The light of Spirit is always there for us. And so if we had a candle here, we would blow it out. but it's always glowing in our minds and in our hearts, isn't it? And we know together that the light never goes out. Why? Because we are the light. And please join me in saying the prayer of transformation. The light of God is in us. The love of God moves through us. The power of God transforms us. The presence of God is who we are. Wherever we go, God is, and all is well. Please have a safe and lovely, loving week. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the Unity Center. Take care of each other, and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.